Hi, Carrie here with WCAT. I'm here with Dr. Imani Perry. First and foremost, thank you for the wonderful assembly, great information, and we all enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I just have a couple questions for you. First and foremost, why do you think it's sometimes hard for people to talk about race in our country?
Well, I think, we have a history that is really where we've had a great deal of racial inequality, racial conflict, and so these are always, they're just difficult issues because our lives are difficult as we sort of deal with the divisions along the lines of race. But we also have this reality where people think that it's somehow impolite to talk about race, or that it's somehow racist to talk about race, and that really is a problem, because then it means that people sort of don't know what to do with the reality that they see around them. And so I think that we actually have to try sort of get over the fear that we might be called racist, the fear that we might offend somebody, to actually get to a point where we can have these open, honest conversations, because that's the only way that we're going to get to sort of a better mutual understandings around.
Also, what would you have to say about people who think that racism is only a thing of the past?
Well, I mean, if you look at virtually any metric in the society, whether it's life expectancy, disease, educate, I mean, there's inequality in every single sort of aspect of people's lives, so it's clear that it's not a thing of the past. It's also clear that it's changed, though, right? So there's not sort of segregation signs around everywhere. There's not sort of absolute prohibitions or bars to barriers to people doing things. So we have to understand the way that it operates differently from our idea of what racism is, right? And so people often think that racial inequality or racism is only that really ugly stuff that we see in sort of old movies, as opposed to more subtle things that have a really serious impact on people's life outcomes. But it's everywhere that we go.
What would you say about the importance of social media today and activism and civil rights and etc.?
Social media has been incredibly important for a number of reasons. One of them is that most of us wouldn't even know about a lot of the activism that's gone on in the past year were it not for social media. National news media stopped covering protest movements and activism after the civil rights movement, by and large. And so things would happen and people wouldn't know about them. Well, this social media emerged, and it was this incredibly democratic space where people can have conversations. People can say, hey, that's going on there, that's going on here, let's have a conversation about it, let's organize. And it's driven the attention of news media, it's driven the attention of political leaders. And so it has really birthed a space, like a new community space, a new democratic space for people to raise concerns about what's going on in their society. So I think it's incredibly exciting.
Lastly, what would you say about your high school and college experiences as a minority that have shaped you today?
So I think of both my high school and college experiences as being, I remember them fondly. I mean, I had an extraordinarily wonderful time at both. They were exciting intellectually. I developed wonderful wonderful friendships, had wonderful experiences. I also think they taught me certain kinds of resilience because of issues around race and gender in college. Ways in which I knew that I wasn't, things weren't always set up for someone like me, and having to figure out a way to make those places mine. So there was some bitterness, but it was mostly sweet. And so part of the work that I do is to continually sort of want those types of spaces to be more open, more equal, and also for us, those of us who have the benefit of coming out of those spaces, to do some good in the world at large.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Perry. We enjoyed your assembly today, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Carrie Green for WCAT.